It begins when you spit your first mouthful of blood into the fire pit. Everyone is staring at you. The firelight bakes every face into stiffness. The elders are silent. The children are pressed hard into their mother's arms. The hunting dogs crouch at the entrance, hardly daring to breathe. You kneel in the center of the teepee-like dwelling, your knees on wooden planks split open by the cold. Above you, more than 30 tree trunks form the cone-shaped roof, covered with birch bark in summer and animal hides in winter. The fire pit never goes out. On the trunk behind you hangs a birch bark box that holds the spirit idols. This is not a home. This is the first threshold you cross into becoming a shaman. The old shaman presses one palm against your forehead and does not ask whether you are willing. You burn with fever for 3 days. On the 4th, you begin to ramble. On the 5th, in your delirium, you call out the name of a hunter who died long ago. Your people do not say you are sick. They say you have been chosen. That is the first rule. You do not walk into this world on your own. You are sent into it. From that day on, you no longer laugh and play with people your age. You no longer follow the men into the mountains to hunt. You no longer sit among the women, listening to them gossip as they skin roe deer. You sit by the fire and learn silence. You learn to remember what every face looks like when it is afraid. The old shaman teaches you only 2 things: when to keep your mouth shut and when to let others speak first. You understand very quickly. Divine will is never the most valuable thing in this system. The most valuable thing is other people believing that you understand divine will. The first thing you learn is how to carry things. You carry the wentu drum, the antlered hat, the wineskin, the small cloth pouch filled with animal fat, and birch bark charms. You follow behind the old shaman through the snow, setting out at 4 a.m. at 30 degrees below zero, your nostrils filled with the cold scent of blood and pine resin, whose child cannot break a fever, whose man has been mauled by a bear, whose hunting gun has missed 3 shots in a row. You say nothing. You only lower your head and remember. Once you enter the mountains, the second rule settles onto your back. No shouting, no careless words before ancient woods and steep cliffs. When you reach the great tree at the mountain pass, you stop, offer tobacco, offer meat, and ask Bainiaka for a path, for life, for prey. The birds and beasts in the mountains never belong to hunters. They belong only to the mountain spirits. The first time you see the old shaman save a man is also the first time you see him refuse to save one. The man whose shoulder has been torn open by a bear is still breathing. You think the old shaman will beat the drum at once. He does not. He makes the wounded man's older brother kneel first and asks whether, the last time he entered the mountains, he took hunting ground that was not his, whether he failed to offer the first piece of meat to the fire. The man turns pale, forces out 2 weak excuses, and in the end knocks his head to the ground and confesses. At the time, you think it is cruel. Only 2 months later do you understand. This system does not treat the wound first. It assigns blame first. It gives fear a shape first. Only then do people obey the rules. Only then do they place their lives in the mountains into your hands. You begin to frighten people on the old shaman's behalf. You slowly come to understand. Sometimes order is not held up by truth. It is held up by explanation. The first time you beat the drum alone, it is in the middle of the night. A hunter has not returned to camp for 7 days. His wife kneels by the fire, clutching a roe deer skin coat. her lips purple with cold. The old shaman places the drum in your hands. The rim is icy. The drum head is stretched tight like a drawn face. You put on the antlered roe deer hat. The bells at your waist jingle softly. The fire flares once, and every eye drops at once. The Oroqen hand drum is called Wentuan. A ritual needs a drum, a song, and a dance. The roe deer head hat is one of the oldest disguises between hunter and forest. In truth, you hear nothing, only your own heartbeat and the woman's strangled sobs. But you speak anyway. You say the man is not dead. He only took the wrong waterway. Search by the third frozen river to the southeast. The next day at noon, they really do bring him back. His right leg is broken. His face is frozen blue. But he is alive. From that day on, the way people look at you changes. You change too. You understand the third rule. The gods never carry the consequences for you. Every time you say, the gods say, it lands on your face in the end. If you are right, you are a bridge. If you are wrong, you are the guilty one. So you learn fast. You learn to read footprints, to read the wind, to know which family lies, which man keeps a secret lover, which elder is close to death but still pretending to be strong. You wrap all of it into the sound of the drum, then breathe it back out, and it becomes prophecy. This is the first time you speak truth in the name of the gods. It is also the first time you lie in their name. At the beginning of June, Gulen Muta arrives. By day there are horse races, archery, and wrestling. By night everyone sits around the bonfire. Meat and liquor are laid before the flames, and the first mouthful is always offered to the fire. The shaman dances by the fire, honoring gods and ancestors. Gulen Muta begins as a festival for the fire god, but in time, the whole forest begins to watch your face. You are no longer just the one who carries the old shaman's drum. You begin to enforce his will. A young hunter drinks too much, spits into the fire, and stirs it with a wooden stick. Everyone freezes in an instant. The fire god cannot be defiled. Before eating and drinking, a little meat and liquor must first be offered to the flames. No filth can be spat into the fire. No one may step carelessly across it. The old shaman looks at you. You understand what that look means. In front of everyone you announce, the young hunter may not touch a gun for 10 days, may not join the next communal hunt, and must pay 2 whole sable pelts, 1 jug of liquor, and 1 deer haunch to the family who tends the ritual fire. You speak calmly, like you are reading a verdict written long ago. The young man glares at you, his fists clenched white, but in the end he lowers his head. This is the first time you taste what power really is. Not drum beats, not spirits. It is a man stronger than you, older than you, and a better shot than you, obeying you in front of the entire clan. From that day on, you no longer beg to be believed. You begin to demand obedience. The old shaman dies on a moonless night. You keep watch beside him for the whole night, listening to his final breath, listening to the firewood crack in the pit. After dawn, no one wails. Everyone is waiting for you to speak. Because from that moment on, who may enter which forest, which family gets the bear fat first, whether a marriage may proceed, how a dead person is to be sent away, all of it must pass through your mouth. That is the 5th rule. You are no longer only the one who communes with spirits. You are the one who keeps the accounts. You begin keeping an invisible ledger for every household, who owes the ancestors a jug of liquor, who owes the mountain spirit a piece of meat, Who owes another person an apology? Who owes a public kneeling? You sit behind the fire and listen as they pile their secrets at your feet, one by one. Some pray for children. Some pray for game. Some pray for a way to survive. Some beg you to keep their shame buried. You begin to accept things, not silver. Something more reliable, a chestnut horse, 2 black fox pelts, a newly sharpened hunting knife. One truth that will never be repeated outside this place. You tell yourself you are not greedy. You are only making order cost something. But you know the truth. Order is like a net, and you are gripping its cords one by one in your own hands. You can no longer tell whether you are managing people for the ancestors or managing fear for yourself. Wherever you go, someone rises before you do. Children do not dare look at you. Hunters enter with the barrels of their guns pointed down. When women place meat and liquor before the fire, they always look at you first before deciding whether they dare ask for anything that day. The Oroqen fear the mountain god, the fire god, the sun, the moon, and the ancestors. They also avoid calling the bear or tiger by their true names. The bear is called God. The tiger is called official or lord. You know that when these names come out of your mouth, they are no longer titles. They are commands. You begin deciding larger matters. Which clan gets a winter hunting ground? Whether poaching counts as an offense against the ancestors? Whether a widow rumored to carry bad luck should be driven to live across the river? Every decision you make benefits someone and angers someone else. But no one dares challenge you to your face, because the 6th rule is harsher than all the rest. You may be doubted, but you must never be challenged. Slowly, you learn to protect the useful and sacrifice the insignificant. The best shot among the hunters steals another man's traps, and you cover for him, punishing him only with 2 offerings to the fire. Another young man with no family to back him complains about you once, and you forbid him from entering the main hunting grounds for 3 months. You know it is unfair. You do it anyway, because you see it clearly now. Fairness cannot hold this system upright. Favoritism can. Favoritism makes everyone fight for your approval. You stand higher and higher, but fewer and fewer people remain beside you. You often wake in the dead of night, hearing the wind drag across the birch bark, like someone sharpening a blade outside the tent. You no longer enter trance so often, not because you are old, because there is no need. You only have to sit there, and people are already afraid. Once power reaches this point, its movements become smaller, not larger, but the danger has not lessened. One winter, 3 hunts in a row come back empty-handed. No deer in the river bends, only old hoof prints left in the gullies. Some say you have lost your power. Some say the young have broken taboos. Some say the ancestors have grown tired of this camp. You know they are not asking about the gods. They are asking, when something goes wrong, who will answer for it? You summon everyone to the fire. From dusk to midnight, no one speaks. There is only the sound of firewood cracking. At last you call 3 names. One man stole sacrificial meat. One secretly changed the hunting markers. One fought another man on the 7th day after a death. You make them kneel until dawn. You make them bring out the best pelts and liquor from their homes and confess in front of everyone. The next day the snow stops. On the 3rd day the hunters bring back a moose. Everyone believes in you even more. Only you know the truth. You did not stop the snow, and you did not call the moose back. But that no longer matters. The seventh rule finally reveals its real face. When everyone needs an explanation, the explanation itself becomes a god. What begins to frighten you is not that the gods may not come. It is that perhaps they never came at all. By the end, the drum does not sound even once for half a month. You sit behind the fire, your shadow drawn long by the flames. More and more people come to see you, but not one of them truly comes close. No one thinks of you anymore as someone's son, husband, or father. You are left with only one identity: shaman, gate, rule, consequence. You know every invisible thread is tied in your hands. You also know those same threads can strangle you at any moment. One sentence from you can give a family the best winter hunting ground. One sentence can keep a man from lifting his head for 3 years. One sentence, the ancestors will not accept it, and a marriage must be put aside. One sentence, the fire god forbids it, and a blood feud must wait until the snow melts. You live like the last stone in the forest. No one can go around you. No one will ever hold you. This is the highest position. No freedom, only responsibility. No closeness, only reverence. No answers, only silence growing heavier and heavier. Sometimes, in the deepest part of the night, you stare into the fire pit for a very long time. You see how many truths you have spoken in the name of the gods, and how many lies. You see the people you saved and the people you ruined. You see that you preserved order and also handed yourself over to it piece by piece. At last you understand. Control is only an illusion. You are not the master of this system. You are only the face it wears while it is alive. Then one night, the door flap is lifted. Cold wind rushes in with fine snow. A 12-year-old child stands at the entrance, forehead burning hot, repeating the name of a dead man again and again. His mother is trembling. His father places his hunting gun on the ground and dares not raise his head. Everyone's eyes pass over the fire pit and settle on you. You look at the child, and you see yourself many years ago. You know what happens next. First the fever, then the isolation, then the silence, then carrying the drum, then learning how to listen to fear in the way people speak. Then the first time he speaks in the name of the gods, the first time he makes someone kneel, the first time he cuts the truth in half and leaves only the part that can keep order steady. After that comes power, reputation, the place beside the fire pit that no one dares approach. And in the end, the place where you are sitting now. The child does not know. His parents do not know either. Only you know. You raise your hand and point to the place beside the fire pit, the place that has been empty for a very long time.